Are going through the papers and looking at some of the stories making headlines today. Joining us to do this morning, we have the former editor of the Daily Star, Dawn Newsom, and the deputy editor for The Spectator, Freddie Gray. And Dawn, we're going to start with you. We were teasing this just before the break. A woman on X has shared a photo of her poppy, which is knitted in Palestinian colours.
Yeah.
It got 35,000 likes. It's had some mixed reactions.
Well,
your own thoughts?
It's her mum that's knitting them, to be fair, and it vaguely looks like a poppy, doesn't it? I mean, look, the armistice is about celebrating the end of World War I and peace. What everybody right-minded wants now is peace in the Middle East. So I actually don't have a huge problem with this, I must admit. This isn't celebrating Hamas, it's not celebrating terrorism, it's not celebrating the appalling atrocities that happened in Israel. It is hopefully aiming for peace. That's my interpretation of it.
There are a lot of poppy police out there, though, and people are very fussy about poppies.
I agree. I think, well, firstly, I think that looks more like a bullet hole than a poppy, which is why...
So you're helping, Freddie.
Which is why some people might find it objectionable. I think if you get upset about people wearing poppies, you're ridiculous. If you get upset about people not wearing poppies, you're also quite ridiculous. It's a good thing. It's not a necessity. It's not a legal obligation. And I think it's the sort of culture war spats that we can really do without, about, you know, what sort of poppies you should wear. I mean, that in itself is not an offensive thing. It's not a Hamas logo.
No.
The trouble is that the Hamas group have kind of commandeered the Palestinian flag a little bit.
Well, exactly. It's like the far right, once upon a time in this country, commandeered the Union flag as well. But, you know, it's something and nothing. It's like the paper hats in the fire, isn't it? I mean, just keep that poppy away from any fires, otherwise you are certainly going to go viral on Twitter.
Well, let us know at home what you think about that. I have a feeling I know which way that's going to go, but always interested to know either way. GBViews at gbnews.com.
Looked at a survey today, Dawn, in the Star, which says 1 in 4 bosses are psychos.
Which means 3 in 4 aren't, speaking as a former boss. But basically, yeah, it's bosses who lead their firms by fear are costing the economy £2.2 billion a year, with productivity and performance are hit as workers are too worried to work properly, basically. Now, I had the huge pleasure of working for Robert Maxwell, Rupert Murdoch and Richard Desmond over my career.
Any psychos there?
No, all very, very lovely people. No,
you don't work for them anymore, Dawn. No, you can say what you really think.
They're driven. Yeah. Yes.
Robert Maxwell was surely I think we should speak ill of the dead, but surely he was a complete lunatic.
Yeah, well, OK, all right, fair point. I mean, yeah, he was, you know, and ripped pensions off, etc., etc. But, I mean, the thing is with this, there's a fine... I'm not talking about those 3 people, by the way. There's a fine line between being driven and trying to get the best for your company and sort of being a psycho and being a bully.
But do you think it's the chicken or the egg? Do you become a psycho by trying to manage people, or are psychos drawn to controlling people?
There have been serious... I mean, this is a bit of a fun survey, obviously, but there have been serious psychological studies done on people who are at the top of their game, are running businesses, are probably psychos, or at least sociopaths at the very best.
I'd just like to say that my boss is very... he's a very reasonable person. He's not a psycho at all.
No.
Never has been.
How's that pay rise going?
Never will be. I'm just shaking as I say it.
Freddie, let's talk about Meghan and Harry. So they like a night out. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But when they live in California and the act they're going to see, Katy Perry, is performing in Las Vegas, how do they go about it?
They fly on a Texan Oil Airs private jet. And this is, of course, an eco-hypocrite story, and who doesn't like a good eco-hypocrite story? They say that the world is on fire, and it is a classic. It applies to us. The rules apply to you and not to us, is the inference. And, of course, it comes, interestingly, at a time when, if you look at the Sun inside, there's a down page, you can see Prince William flew BA, which reminds me of... Do you remember when the last time there was a big fuss about Harry and Meghan flying on private jets? And then there was a time splash of William flying Ryanair.
down from Aberdeen or something.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you thought it all seems slightly contrived, all this plane wars between the two feuding brothers. But, you know, I mean, it is obviously ridiculous to preach to people about the world being on fire and then to jet around on Oil Air's private jets. And it's quite fun to call them out on it, so I'm all for it.
I mean, William was flying out to Singapore, wasn't he, for his what's it called? Earthshot
Prize.
The Eco Awards thing. So,
And to do the dragon race.
yes,
where he rode
dragon
magnificently.
racing, which is, yeah.
According to
I
reports.
couldn't care less whether people fly on a private jet or a jumbo jet or whatever the heck it happens to be, but I do care if they preach about it the way Meghan and Harry do, and then, as we say, don't do as one says, do as...
Exactly that, Eamonn. I totally agree. I mean, look, drive what car you want, fly how you want,
Yes.
etc., etc. Just don't lecture me on going for my 1 week holiday in Spain every year.
Shall we talk about Donald Trump in court yesterday, Freddie, making lots of the headlines this morning? Will it have hurt him or not? He was pretty rude to the judge. The judge, on occasions, looked exasperated, saying it was like a broken record. He didn't seem to understand that he was needing to follow court regulations, etc.
He was rude to the judge. I have to say, Judge Arthur Engeron, as he's called, I think he's slightly theatrical too, and I think he's enjoying...
A lot of judges. I mean, the whole thing, the whole
of course he is,
system.
but I think they're slightly hamming this up because of the story and because it's Donald Trump. And as I've just said in the piece on The Spectator, do go and have a look. It is legal. It's politics dressed up as legal theatre, and there's no point pretending it isn't. So when the judge berates Trump for saying this is not a political campaign, Trump is right to say this. You're a hack. You bought a political hack's arguments against me, because it is politics. It's politics in the courtroom, and everybody in America can see it, and that's why it doesn't hurt Trump in the polls. It actually helps him.
Oh, there we go. Barbara Streisand.
Yeah, so there's a link here between, the difference, but I was just going to say sort of like, the one thing American politics makes you glad for is British politics, and ours are nuts, so theirs are even worse. But there's a link here, and this is Barbara Streisand. She's 81 years old. She's got her autobiography coming out, My Name is Barbara. And in it, she talks about she was so relieved to come to England to shoot a film because this country is far less sexist than the United States.
Really?
Yeah, which is interesting. And she talks about still feeling very self-conscious about her looks and the effect that had on her over her career. But the fact that she also lists the famous men, she does it in a way that I think her generation of women would talk about it, whereas younger generation of women would be far more, what's the word, explanatory about what went on. But she lists the famous men who were infatuated with her. Omar Sharif wrote a long, passionate letter begging her to leave her husband. The King, our very own Charles, described her as devastatingly attractive with great sex
They covered this in The Crown, didn't they? His little crush on Barbara Streisand.
Well, Marlon Brando introduced himself by kissing the back of her neck, as you do. Now, try that now to a young actress in Hollywood. Hashtag
Great
me
move.
too, yeah. But the saddest thing about this, she's 81. She is amazing. 250 million records, 10 Golden Globes, 5 Emmys, 2 Oscars. Amazing career. And you know what, Isabel? She says, I want to live my life now. I want to get in my husband's truck and be happy. I haven't had much happiness in my life. And I just thought, oh, my God, at 81, how sad is that?
Yeah, let's have a listen to how she phrased all of that.
I want to get in my husband's truck and just wander, go around, hopefully with the children somewhere near us. When they come over, they love playing with the dogs, we have fun. I haven't had much fun in my life.
Working too hard. You see, it's a bit like you, Eamonn. I actually thought of you when I heard this interview yesterday. Because sometimes you say, if you had your time again, you'd be much more badly behaved.
Definitely.
And I think there is something to be said for, not being all work.
What would you do, Eamonn?
And no play.
What would
I'd do everything that I wasn't supposed to do. My trouble
you do
is
a lot of that.
I was on television when I was 19, doing 5-day-a-week programming.
And you married the first girl you kissed.
Huh? At 19, I had to act as if I was 40. So I think I would do that differently. But it's easy for anybody to get into a rut of providing for their family, doing the right thing all the time. And so whatever her business was, she did it. She got on the treadmill, and she obviously looked back and thinks, where did that time go? The thing about all our lives, no matter how old you are, you will suddenly go, what? Is that it?
Oh,
Is it over now? Is that it? So it'll go very, very quickly. Life will go quickly. So I tell you, if you're in your 30s now, start living your life, because suddenly you'll wake up and you'll be 50.
Can you relate? I mean, Dawn, you're the hardest working person I've ever met in my life. Can you relate to that?
I can, and I think...
You
pack a lot of fun. No, she
I
packs
pack a lot of fun in as well. It's like, you know, I just don't sleep that much. But I think Eamonn's so right, and I think time does fly past so quickly, and you often forget what's important in life. An important thing is your friends and your family and having some fun. And
but you can say all that, but you still have to pay your mortgage and your rent.
Well, this is the point. This is the problem.
You know, so we can all say, oh, this is what's important from the hindsight of coming out the other side. But when you're there,
time. You know, I just constantly think I wish I made more time for my mum. And she says, oh, you're working so hard. You're working so hard. But anyway.
Well, I think what I liked about what Barbara Streisand said was that you know, notoriety and fame can actually get in the way of you having fun. And for a lot of young people, certainly I see my children looking at the internet and online, so just all that matters is your ability to project yourself. And actually, for someone to say, I was extremely famous and it got in the way of me having fun, I think it's quite refreshing.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Go live your life, basically.
Can I just say the Poppy story, the inbox has gone absolutely mad, as you might expect, and I'm reading these unedited, so do bear with. People who choose to wear the Poppy to honour Armistice Day, it's optional for sure.
It's not optional.
But the colours...
So look, you try doing our job. Are you actually telling me that if, and we do choose to wear, we're not making any protest, but if Isabel and I came on here without a Poppy, we'd be allowed to? Not by the company, but by you, the viewers and listeners.
Yeah, we often get told they're not on correctly. Yes, I take issue with the Palestinian poppy. The poppy was chosen for its huge symbolic significance when poppies adorned the battlefields after World War I. It should be honoured and respected as a symbol of thanks and remembrance for all who made sacrifices for us. If you want to show solidarity for Palestine, get your own symbol. Do not hijack a poppy.
Interesting point. Well, very good. Keep those points coming in. Dawn, Freddie, thank you both very much indeed for today's look at what's going on in the world. More of the same.